Midnight confessions don't happen by accident. They happen when someone has nothing left to lose. The knock on my door wasn't loud. It wasn't urgent. It was careful. Like whoever was on the other side was afraid I might not open it. I checked the time on my phone first. 12:41 a.m. Too late for deliveries. Too late for neighbors. Too late for anything good. I almost didn't answer. Then I looked through the peephole. And my stomach dropped. She was standing there in a long coat, hair loose, makeup imperfect for the first time I'd ever seen. No assistants. No security. No polished smile built for boardrooms and cameras. Just her. My CEO. The woman whose wedding photos had flooded the company's Slack channel just 2 weeks ago. The woman everyone said had finally won. I opened the door. She didn't speak right away. She just looked at me like she'd been holding her breath for miles and had finally found a place to exhale. I canceled the wedding, she said. No greeting. No explanation. Just a truth dropped between us like glass. My brain froze. What, was all I managed? She swallowed. Her hands were shaking. That terrified me more than the words. I didn't know where else to go, she continued. And I didn't trust myself to stay alone. That sentence carried years of pressure behind it. I stepped aside without thinking. She walked in slowly, like she was stepping into a different life. The door closed behind her with a soft click. That sound felt permanent. She looked around my house, the modest furniture, the unfinished bookshelf, the coffee mug still in the sink. This was the place where I lived quietly. Where nothing dramatic ever happened. Until now. You shouldn't be here, I said finally. People will talk. She smiled sadly. They already are. I ran a hand through my hair. Your wedding, your fiancé, is gone, she said. So is the version of me that kept choosing safety over truth. That was the moment I realized this wasn't impulse. This was build-up. Years of it. She took off her coat and set it on the chair like she'd done it before, like she belonged here. Then she looked straight at me. I didn't come for comfort, she said. I didn't come for closure. She stepped closer. I came because if I didn't say this tonight, I never would. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. You're my CEO, I said quietly. This is dangerous. She nodded. I know. Then she said the words that broke every wall I had. I love you. Not whispered. Not dramatic. Just honest. The room felt too small. I thought of every meeting where her eyes lingered half a second too long. Every late-night call that didn't need to be one. Every moment I told myself I was imagining it. I wasn't. She waited. Didn't touch me. Didn't beg. Just waited. I don't need an answer tonight, she said. I just needed you to know, before I disappear from your life completely. That scared me more than her confession. You're not disappearing, I said. She tilted her head. You don't know that. I took a step closer. You canceled a wedding, I said. You came here. You said you love me. That doesn't sound like someone running away. She looked at me then, not as a CEO, not as a woman in control, but as someone who had gambled everything on one truth. Then tell me, she asked softly. Was I wrong? I opened my mouth. And realized whatever I said next would change both our lives forever. There are moments when time doesn't slow down. It freezes. That was one of them. She stood in my living room, waiting for an answer that could dismantle her entire future, or give it meaning. The silence stretched until it became unbearable, not awkward, but heavy with everything we'd never said. I wasn't wrong, I said finally. Her breath caught, sharp and sudden. But, I added quickly, that doesn't make this simple. She nodded. I didn't come here because it was simple. Good. Because nothing about this was. I gestured for her to sit. She didn't. Instead, she walked to the window, staring out at the dark street like she was bracing herself for consequences. Do you know how many times I practiced not saying it? She asked. How many times I told myself it was admiration, gratitude, respect. I leaned against the wall. And every time you spoke up in meetings, she continued, every time you challenged me without trying to impress me, I felt seen. That word landed hard. Seen. I didn't fall for you because you were convenient, she said. I fell because you never treated me like I was untouchable. I swallowed. You are untouchable. She turned. Not tonight. The air shifted again. I called off the wedding this afternoon, she said. I told him the truth. Not all of it. Just enough. My chest tightened. He deserves more than just enough. I know, she replied. But tonight wasn't about him. It was about whether I've been lying to myself for the last 3 years. 3 years. That's how long this had been building. I didn't come here to ask you to save me, she said. I came because I needed to know if what I felt was real, or just a fantasy built in late nights and stress. And now? I asked. She met my eyes. Now I know. I took a step closer, stopping when we were inches apart. This changes everything, I said. Yes, she agreed. That's why I came. Her phone buzzed on the table. She didn't look at it. You're bored, I guessed. My sister, she corrected. She thinks I'm still at the hotel. I waited. And if I don't go back tonight, she said quietly, the world will know something is wrong. I hesitated. Do you want it to know? She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she reached out, slowly, giving me time to pull away, and placed her hand on my chest. Right over my heartbeat. I want a life that feels like this, she said. Not one that looks good on paper. I closed my eyes for a second. This was the line. Once crossed, there was no rewriting the story. You can stay, I said. But not like this is a secret mistake. She searched my face. What does that mean? It means if you stay, I continued, we don't hide behind excuses tomorrow. Her expression shifted, from hope to fear to resolve. That will cost me everything, she said. Or give you something real, I replied. She exhaled slowly. Then she nodded. I choose real. The word settled between us like a vow. She picked up her phone and turned it face down. I'm not leaving tonight, she said. My pulse spiked. Are you sure? She smiled faintly. I've never been more sure of anything. I grabbed a blanket from the chair. She stopped me. Not the couch, she said. Not tonight. That was the moment my resolve cracked. But before anything else could happen, her phone buzzed again. This time, she looked. Her face drained of color. What is it? I asked. She swallowed. The board just scheduled an emergency meeting for 8 a.m., she said. They know. The weight of that statement hit like a punch. They know what? I asked. She looked at me, eyes steady but scared. That I didn't marry the man they approved of, and that I might have chosen something they can't control. She reached for my hand. If I walk into that meeting tomorrow, she said, everything changes. I squeezed her fingers. Then we face it together. She nodded, but her eyes lingered on the door. Because the hardest part wasn't what would happen next. It was deciding whether she was brave enough to stay when morning came.